Welcome to another episode of Make Mental Health Matter. I am your host, Kelly Melissa Reinhart. If you happen to be watching me for the very first time, thank you so much. And this is a new time for me. I'm so excited. Happy New Year. This is going to be really exciting to be able to go live on Mondays at 5 p.m. Mountain Time versus what I was going live was Mondays at 11 a.m. And so thank you so much for shifting and watching now. And I'm very excited for today's show because I don't actually have a guest. So if you happen to be watching again for the very first time, I usually have guests who are either mental health professionals, advocates of mental health, or those with lived experience. And over the course of time, I have been going live since 2021, officially moved over to the E360 platform in April of 2023, which is last year because today is a new year. And then I transitioned and I added a new show, which was on Wednesdays. And I really had people who shared their story, their experience, their warrior journey through this thing that we call life. And then now we're transitioning again. I know, so exciting, right? I think it's good. I think it's great. And being able to make these changes is one of the things that I wanted to do in this new year. And so I'm taking you all along on the journey of going at a new time. We'll have new guests. This year is going to be extremely wonderful, I guess is the word. I'm like, what is the word I'm trying to say? But it's going to be a great year with great guests, and also just I'll be able to this goes live right before Monday Night Football, which I thought was a great time. I know football's almost over. If you watch football, I get it. Thank you for coming and watching me right before we go into Monday Night Football. And I hope that this year gives you all of the resources, all of the information, gives you the ability to maybe see your story inside somebody else's story and give you that piece of hope that you might be looking for if you are somebody that is struggling. Because the coolest part about knowing anything really about mental health and suicide is that recovery is possible. And when we can give somebody a little bit of hope in life, then they can really turn around and use that. And it can be something that ultimately saves somebody's lives. So the whole point of this show is to give you resources, information, give you some tools and some tips that maybe you didn't know in the past. Also, share experiences that others have been through and really showing you that there is hope in whatever you might be going through. And I know that with a new year comes new things that we as humans decide to do. If you watched my show last week, I talked about New Year's resolutions and why you should maybe choose something different versus doing a resolution. And I actually so I started this 21-day challenge. It's a manifesting challenge with Gabby Bernstein. And one thing that she says is that when you do a resolution, it's ultimately saying that you're trying to fix something. So if you are, you might want to like change your habits or your lifestyles or a pattern or something that's showing up, but really it gives this energy of like, I'm broken or there's something wrong with me, when really, in fact, there's nothing wrong with you. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. You are not broken. Just sometimes we need to shift our mindset and shift our energies. And so that's where instead of saying a New Year's resolution, we shift it into New Year's intentions, What are those goals that you're wanting to go after? What is the intention behind this year? I still haven't fully picked my word of the year yet. I'm going to go through the first process of the first day of the manifesting challenge. I didn't get to it earlier today. I had to redo my intro and my thumbnails and all this stuff for the show today. So I didn't get a chance, but I will be picking my word of the year. So I pick a word of the year, something that signifies my intention for the rest of the year. And that can totally change. It doesn't have to be, you're like, I'm locked into stone with this word as of today and going into the rest of the year. It can change. It can adapt. Last year, mine was unapologetic action, which actually changed into massive action. Unapologetic just felt kind of like I got into this kind of negative energy with it. And so then I shifted it into massive action. Action is still one of those big words for me and it keeps coming up, but this idea of abundance. And it could be financial abundance, it could be love abundance, it could be relationship abundance. There's so many ways to think about abundance. And that's another word that really is coming up. So, if you are anything like me, I am very into numerology. And 2023, okay, so I had a friend post yesterday that 2023 ended on 123 123. I didn't know that until I saw the post and like my husband was like, "What? You didn't see that?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "With all the number things that you do, you didn't see that." And I was like, "No, not until my friend posted it." So anyways, but it ended on 123 123, which is ultimately your spirit guides telling you that you are ready to step into whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. So basically, like, if you have been feeling this pull, I don't know about you, but I've been feeling this pull of energy into 2024, and it's gotten even stronger over the last couple of weeks. And I know that there's something, I mean, it kind of started, I don't know, a little after summertime last year. And I knew there's something big happening. I didn't know what it was. I still don't know what it is, but I could feel this energy that's like kind of pulling me forward, and like we're ready to launch. Like my nonprofit is ready to just explode or just launch in some way. And so over the last couple of weeks, like it's been really pulling at me, and I am trying to not figure out what it is. I am open to the possibilities of whatever that might look like. And then I saw my friend's post, the 123 123, and it was like shocking to me because I was like, "Oh my gosh, like it's your guides or your spirit guides, whatever you want to call them, your angels, whatever that might be for you." It is that source that's pulling you into and telling you that you are and can step into this big action, or you're ready to take flight. I guess that's not the exact words that was put, but ultimately that's kind of what it like for me it felt like. And I know going into this year there are some giant things happening for BCC Evolution, which I'm super excited, plus myself, and that's what's really pulling me. And so that's the intention. So the word, whatever that word is, that feeling, that thing that you want to see for the year or feel for the year, or what you want to hear as you are going throughout the year, that's that word. That's the thing. That's a word that you want to pick. So again, if you didn't watch my last episode, go back and watch that, because I actually walk you through a process of how to actually get your word of the year. And I'm not going to do it again since I already did it, but that can be one way. So instead of setting a resolution, which may feel more like you're broken or there's something wrong with you that you need to fix, Instead, what's the intention that you want to go into the new year with? And that's why I love that I actually have a show on the 1st of January, 2024, that I can give you some of these tools. It also really helps you, especially if you are somebody that might be struggling with a mental health challenge or maybe substance use. Maybe you're feeling like, oh, here we go, another year. Like I'm stuck. I still feel like there's nothing for me. I'm so depressed. Like it's not getting any better. And I want you to know that we can start to shift that momentum. We can start to change the actions, change the behaviors, change the patterns. And if you feel any of that pull on your heart or in your body or that energy, you really truly can find a way to shift out of it. And I don't have all the magical tools to be able to do that, but I certainly do have a lot of really awesome people that are surrounding me that I have found for myself personally, like the Gabby Bernstein, like she's doing her manifesting challenge. I just happened to find that. I actually saw it. I follow her because she's come into this mastermind that I've been a part of, but I also saw it on Facebook. It popped up and I was like, well, that's a sign. If there's any sign, that was a sign. And at first I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do it. And then kind of last minute, a couple of days ago, I was like, I'm going to do this. So I did. I jumped in and I still need to do day 1, which I will get done. However, I did last night. So one of the things was to, and I've done this every year. So this is something else that you can do, but write out a list of what are you leaving in 2023, or at least this is what I did last night. What am I leaving in 2023? Like what do I not want to carry over with me in 2024? And for me, some of the things were overwhelm, anxiety, heartbreak, being burnt out, lack of energy. Like those were some of the things that I wanted to leave or I'm leaving in 2023. It's not like not like a magic wand that it's just like right? Like everything's gone, but I can at least like have my mind wrap around that and say this is what I'm leaving there. And then I wrote out a list. I actually did 23. So I wrote out a list and I got to like I don't know, 8, 9, 10 of wins for 2023. I've done this practice in the past. As you can write out your top 50. That's usually a really good number. I decided on 23 last night. And so I wrote out 23 wins for last year. So some of mine, if you've been watching this, you have followed along my journey. I did the 29029 Everesting challenge this year in Utah, and that was huge for me. I only made it 7.45 of the climbs up. I didn't hit all 13, but that's okay because that was way more than I thought that I would be able to get. I went in, I was like, I'm going to get 13. And then I started and I was like, I'm not getting 13. I was almost done after like 2 or 3, but I kept going. So persistence. I also did the TEDx. So as a TEDx speaker, that was another thing that showed me my persistency. I had applied 2 other times. This was the 3rd time I had applied this year, and I was part of the volunteer team. I made my presence known and I asked for help. I asked for the training. I asked to look at my ideas. I took full advantage this year, which I never have done in the past, of all the tools that I had at my fingertips that they were willing to give me. And so being persistent and making that happen, I got accepted, which was awesome, right? So that was one of the wins that I had for last year. Some other things that maybe let's see, that you all might know is So BCC Evolution got accepted or selected. We actually got selected. First, we got nominated for the eWomen's Network grant. And then we actually got selected. So we'll get that in this year, in August of this year, which is awesome. So I do know that is coming. Let's see. I'm trying to think. I left them upstairs, but ultimately I wrote down 23 wins from last year, and I had to get my brain thinking about like even the small wins, like the wins that maybe you don't tell the world, maybe the wins that you woke up in the morning. It could be that you got yourself to a doctor's appointment, maybe you got yourself to a friend's giving that you had social anxiety around, right? Like these small little things that you're doing that ultimately are wins for the year. And maybe you didn't look at them at that time as wins, but it can be really, really powerful. Is set my intentions for 2024. They're not organized by any means right now. I made a big, ginormous list that I'm probably going to need to narrow down and go back and fully develop the concepts and the goals and make them much more clear, more concise. But ultimately, I wrote out a list of items and intentions that I have for 2024. And with that, I actually folded it up, which was something that this manifesting challenge told us to do, was folded it up and put it under my pillow. And that ultimately is a way for the energy of these things to start to manifest. And I mean, really, like I'm not, I am not, in the past, I have never claimed to be able to like manifest. I don't meditate, maybe here and there, like small things. But I'm not like overly in that part of or space of manifesting. So I don't know, like for me, I just feel like trying something. I don't want to be where a little bit of emotions coming up around this, but I don't want to be where I was last year when I felt completely burnt out and I felt completely overwhelmed. And I had so much energy being drained from me because I was helping other people before I helped myself. And I know enough about myself that I had no energy left for myself because I was giving, and there wasn't anything left for me. And so that's what I'm talking about is as a caregiver, as a helper, as somebody who is the founder of a mental health and suicide awareness nonprofit, I got to the point that I was so burnt out and so overwhelmed that I was ready to walk away. The only thing that maybe saved that was this show. Like, honestly, being able to bring people on the show that not only were able to impact the lives of you as the audience, they impacted me too. They gave me a reason to get ready every single Monday. They gave me a reason to get ready every single Wednesday night. They gave me that strength that I didn't know I needed. And now looking back at that, it really, really helped me because I was able to see the impact that I could bring to you as the audience. And that is really, really cool. I could see the numbers, like physically see the numbers of the amount of people that were watching, but I also got the messages. We had the comments. There were so many really incredible things that happened based off of the show this last year. Whereas in the past, when I was just doing the show on YouTube, there weren't very many eyeballs that watched it. Now we're well over 5,000 views. We're on a platform that has over 1 million views, and I can see the numbers behind everything, which is really, really cool. It gave me a purpose. It gave me uh something that I knew that I needed to do. And so that was something that helped me move through my burnt out and my overwhelm. But I also understand that even towards the end of the summer, a little into fall, I was supporting people who were going through crisis, and that drained a ton of energy from me. So I had to shift and I had to take care of myself, potentially to the detriment of those people that I was supporting. But I knew that I had given them the resources, the tools, the information, and I couldn't make them take my help. I also couldn't make them take the help of the people that I introduced them to. And so, what I was able to do with that was take myself out of the equation, because it was really, really tugging on my heart and draining so much of my energy that I had to release what I was doing at that moment. And that's okay. If you're not well yourself, we shouldn't try to be taking care of others. And when I was in that really deep place of burnt out, I was still trying to help people. And that's where I got to the point that I had to make a change. I knew at that moment something had to change. That change had to come from me. And so that's why this year I have chosen to search out other ways to be able to do that and have people support me, because I truly need that for myself and everybody else around me. So, those are just some ideas of how we can go into this new year, setting our intention and possibly looking internally at ourselves. What do I need? What do you need? Not everybody else around you. What do you need? That's a hard question sometimes. But the things that I gave you, being able to leave those things in 2023, writing out your wins, and then ultimately setting your intentions for 2024, that is a great practice to just simply start. So we have to go to a quick sponsored break, but right after the break, I'll give you a little bit more information. Again, if you're a nerd like I am that loves numerology, you're gonna want to hear the information about 2024. So I'll be right back after this quick sponsored break. And I'm back. Well, there's supposed to be one more little commercial, but it didn't work, and that's okay. The technical things about being live. So if you happen to be just joining, thank you so much. My name is Kelly Melissa Reinhart. I am the host for the Make Mental Health Matter show. Typically, I have a guest who is either a professional in the mental health space, an advocate for mental health, or they have a warrior story that they share about their mental health experience. And I am just talking today about the power of really like 2023 going into 2024, how we can change and shift the way that we think about if we do New Year's resolutions, shifting them into intentions instead of resolutions, why numbers matter. Again, we left 2023 on 123 123, and going into 2024, it is actually the 8 7 8. I'm like, numbers, right? It's an 8 year. How do I get that? You take the 2024 and you add them all up together. So 2 plus 0, there's no, right? 2 plus 2 plus 4, and that equals 8. And that's how you get the year, or the number for the year. I'm just learning all about this kind of stuff, and the only reason why I really started learning about this is because several years ago, actually after my so I had an ex who passed away on February 19th 2015. And then my sister passed on February 20th, 2017. And ever since both of them passed away, numbers have been this huge thing. I see them in sequence all the time. The 222, 333, 444, 555, 1212, 1010, 1111, 1111, or 111, 1234. I'm trying to think. What are the other ones? Yeah, it's just like all over the place. So, and even outside of like the time, and I take screenshots because at first I was like, so weird that I just like randomly look at the clock at these times. After Roger passed, it was actually 1234. That was the time. And that was the start of when I started noticing. And then after my sister passed, like numbers just like everywhere. That's when the 1212s, 1010s, 1111s, and over the years it's just gotten more and more and more and more. So then I started looking up, I'd download apps and be like, what do these numbers mean? Like, what is this? What is this meaning? And I think it was actually because one of my friends like, how often, like, we started talking about it, and she's like, how often do you see, I just mentioned, I was like, yeah, I see numbers, like repeating numbers all the time. And she's like, do you even know what that means? And I'm like, no, I have no idea. And then I got curious. I was like, well, maybe it's because I am just aware of it, so now it's even more. And so then I started taking screenshots, and I was like, and it's intermittent, it's not all the time, it's just some months are a ton more, some months are a lot less. And it's just hit or miss. Like some days I see them all, some days I see none of them. And so I started taking screenshots. And I was like, well, I want to see how often it actually is. And then my whole like album, my whole picture storage was full of numbers. And I was like, this is silly. The reason why I'm seeing these is because I am aware that I need to take the picture at the time, and that's why I'm doing it. So then I erased all of them, and I was like, screw it. And then after that, that's when I like really, it was last year. And I'm pretty sure that was around the time that I like really was like going down in the burnt out and the overwhelm. Like I was like really going down. And I was like, I erased all of them. And then I'm like, well, I don't need to take up storage on my phone. I already have way too many pictures, so I'm going to delete all these. And that's when I did, like, I started going more downhill. I guess you could call it depression, right? Like really, really burnt out, really overwhelmed, really tired, just lack of energy. If you watched, I don't know, I should go back and watch some of the shows that I did during that time, because it was during the summer, June and July, really heavy. And I totally just like erased all of them. Then it started more frequently, and I wasn't taking pictures. And I was like, fine. Okay, I hear you. I hear you. I get it. I get it. I started taking them again. And then my son went into my phone and he was like, why do you have all these pictures of all these numbers? And then I explained it to him. So now he's doing it. And then my husband is now doing it every once in a while. He's like, it's 11:11, or, like they let me know when they see the numbers now too. So it has now become this family thing that we do, but it also has meaning behind it. So if you are somebody who sees patterns, maybe you see them not just in time, but you see them, it could be even like on license plates, it could be on like, what else would you see? I don't know, wherever you go, right? There's like on codes, like when your computer sends you codes, and there's so many places that you would see numbers. If you're constantly seeing repeating numbers, again, I downloaded like an angel app that tells me like what the meaning is, and of course you can translate that, but ultimately for me it was just a lot of my guides, whoever that happens to be up there, because I have lost several people to, especially within the last few years, to substance abuse, overdose, suicide, so many different things. Not so much old age, it's more of all the things that I help with in my nonprofit. So, there's like, I have lots of guides up there, and that's what it means for me. What it means for you may be different, but it's ultimately a way that we can really start to shift our energies. Like, what are those things that we can start to notice? Whether it is gratitude. Gratitude is a great way to start shifting our energy, start noticing the positive things versus the negative things. If we are somebody who constantly says, if I didn't have good luck, or if I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have luck at all. I went straight to the positive. But if you're somebody that says that, or you're like, oh, everything bad happens to me, or when it rains, it pours, right? We hear that one a lot. When it rains, it pours. It does, because you're focusing on that negative energy. We're focusing on the things that are negative in our life versus the things that are positive in our life. If I sat and stayed in that burnt out and overwhelm, what would have happened? I don't know. But I also know enough about myself, and I know that I can start to shift my energy. It's not immediate by any means. It takes some time, and our automatic thoughts are way stronger than our automatic thoughts are generally negative in nature, and they're way stronger than our positive, intentional, conscious thoughts. So, if we just start to notice those things that pop in, and it could be like, oh, I look ugly today, or oh, wow, I look really fat today, or oh, I'm so dumb. Oh, why did I do that? I'm so stupid. Or, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say it that way. Why do we continue to apologize? It happens, right? We all make mistakes. We're all human. And those are some of the like negative thoughts that can pop into your head, or negative automatic thoughts. And they're fast. They're like fleeting all the time. But when we can start to become aware of those things, we can start to shift our energy. And maybe this isn't quite making sense to you, what I'm saying, but there's a lot of research behind negative thoughts, shifting from negative to positive, and how we can really become aware of those things. And these are good things to be mindful of as we go into, and as we're already in, 2024. 2024, the an 8, I keep trying to do 7. No, 8. An 8 year is all about abundance. It's about, um I should have it right in front of me and I don't. But it's all about abundance. It's all about um making things come into fruition. Last year, a 7 year is all about building, and this year is all about abundance. So that's where the shift happens. And if you believe, and if you like start to kind of shift your energies or your mindset around these things, you really truly can make a difference in your life and the lives of others around you. I'm not saying that it's going to be perfect by any means. It takes energy to shift your energy, and it can be really, really challenging because if we are somebody who is struggling, like really bad, maybe you are in a deep depression, maybe you live in a state or a country like Colorado that is cold. There truly is a disorder while it's cold called seasonal affective disorder. A lot of people experience that because we're not able to get out like we normally can, or having it be really cold, it just drains our energy a lot more. Our body has to use a lot of energy to make us warm again. Unless you're somebody who is going through menopause, then your body does it naturally for you, but that's a whole nother situation. Or maybe you are somebody that runs hot and you're like, I think of the my sister had a Bernese mountain dog at one point in time, and I think of that dog, and she would just sit in the snow because she was so hot all the time. Maybe you're somebody who is like that and you love the cold, but most of us don't really like the cold, right? It takes a lot of energy to warm up our bodies. And so oftentimes in winter climates, we can experience seasonal affective disorder. But sometimes this drags people down a lot, like a lot. Like you go into depression, you go into like severe anxiety. And so just being aware of these things. How can we make a change? How can we change our perspective? How can we shift how we're thinking? Those are the things that I'm just saying. And I know for me, what I have decided is that I'm going to do this 21-day manifesting challenge. I searched out something that I want to shift and change what I'm doing. That's what I decided to do. I also have made the decision that I'm going to ask for help more often. I am generally not somebody who asks for help, but I need to this year. If I really truly want to grow and I want to get all that energy that's been pulling me to step into the bigger role or the bigger place that BCC is going to be, then I've got to ask for help. And wouldn't it be really cool to learn how to work smarter, not harder? I'm sure you've heard that phrase before. There are plenty of people in this world that are working smarter and not harder, and they experience abundance in their life all the time. Abundance can be very different for you than for me, and that's okay. So, however you define abundance is wonderful. And if you think about the countries that are lacking of resources or lacking financially, some of those countries are actually the most happiest countries in the world because they feel abundance in a different way than maybe an American who uh I don't want to say like is privileged, but I mean, we are spoiled in a lot of ways, and we're always searching for more, and we have certain expectations. We have certain um things that we need because it's a much more expensive place to live. depending on where you live, of course. But I know, at least in Colorado, it is expensive here. It's really expensive. And to be able to have just those basic needs, it takes a lot of financial abundance. And so that's the difference is, I mean, it kind of depends where you are, what your relationship with abundance or what it means to you, and whatever it is, that's great. And maybe it's something you need to explore. That's great too. So, all of these things are just some tools that you can use as you go into this new year that really truly is going to be filled with abundance. I would also highly recommend that you look or question maybe some of the things that news or media puts out there. Is it really truly the only way? And I say this because most of the time, media focuses on the negatives. We're very much a fear based society. I don't know if you watch the news. I very rarely do, but when I do, most of it is people that have gotten killed, people who gotten robbed, there's shootings, there's it's all the bad things that have happened. I'm like, where's all the happy stories? Like, let's talk about the I don't even know. Like, let's talk about the homeless people, that the people who experience homelessness that were able to go into shelters or had meals on Christmas Day. Let's talk about all the people that are out there volunteering, all the nonprofits that are making a difference in this world, and all the wonderful things that they're doing. Like, let's talk about that stuff. But instead, we're focused on the negatives. So that's what I'm saying is, if we can challenge the status quo, or think about things in a little bit different perspective of what are the positive things. And I'm not saying to be naive by any means, and it's still important to understand what is happening in the world. But I do also know that there are people that are predicting negative things versus positive things. But if you look at some of the more spiritual or holistic or the numerology, if you want to think in that way, then you can start feeling more abundant. You can start feeling more positive than negative. So that's all I'm saying about that one. But this year is a new year. Today is a new year. Does it change anything? Maybe. Does it make does it have a magic wand that everything is just gone that I did yesterday or the day before or the day before? No. But what we can do is we can look at it as a new start, a fresh start. Also, we could do that every single day. Every single day that we are on this planet Earth. We could do it every single month. If that feels like something that would be helpful for you, why not? Every first of every single month, you can start anew. Maybe January sucked. Let it go. What can you do new in February? So maybe we look at it that way. Every single day that we wake up, we're starting anew. What is my intention for the day? What is my intention for the week? What do I want to feel? What do I want to see? What do I want to hear? Because I'm the one that lives my life, and so are you. You live your life, and you're on this journey in this thing that we call life. So, how do you want to show up? And what's your intention as you move forward? Something to think about. And if this isn't helpful, throw it away. That's okay. I always say that. I say that in my groups. Something pops into my mind and I roll with it. And if it's helpful, take it. If it's not, throw it away. And I'm okay with that. Because Not everything that works for me works for everybody else, and that's okay because we all experience things differently. Your experience is going to be very different from my experience. I just want to give you maybe some other ways to start thinking or looking at the way that we move through our lives on a daily basis. So, hopefully, that can be helpful for you, especially if you experience burnt out, overwhelm, anxiety, depression, any type of struggle. We have options, we have chances to make every single next day better than the last one. And that's pretty cool, isn't it? That's right. I definitely think it is. So this year, this 2024, I hope that you do epic things. I know personally, I started writing on my Facebook page that I'm doing epic shit. And I want to continue that. So if any of this was helpful for you, I just want to share something really quickly with you. And it's not fully vetted out. It's just an idea that I have that I want to do. I want to do more epic shit this year. There were a lot of epic things that I did last year, and I never took that moment even after those epic things to celebrate myself and celebrate those wins because I was so fully engulfed in this overwhelm and burnt out. So this year, I'm planning to change that and transform it and remove the negative and put in the positive and do more epic shit. So I'm going to put out a webinar. It's going to be free for anybody that wants to come and learn, but I'm going to start a challenge. It's going to be called Do Epic Shit Challenge. And it's going to be something that you can come learn how you can shift and change your mindset. A lot of what we talked about today, again, it's not 100% vetted yet, but it will be. And ultimately giving you access to mindset tools, giving you access to the epic things that are out there that maybe you don't know. Like I didn't know about 29029, and that was epic. So those are the type of things. Some other epic things that I've done in the past is walking on glass, walking on fire, I holding like different animals and reptiles and things that I wouldn't normally do. Breaking out of my comfort zone, breaking out of all the fears that were holding me back. If I hadn't done those things in the past, I wouldn't be here in front of you today. Talking in front of the public was not something that I would have ever thought that I would be doing. And hosting my own TV show was absolutely not a thing that I ever thought was possible. But here I am today because I chose to do epic shit that got me out of my fear-based patterns of living. And that's what I want to do for you. So there's two things that I want to offer. First and foremost, I'm looking for guests for this show this year, going into this year. So if you want to be a guest on the show or you know somebody that might want to be, please send them my way. Let me show you the link. You can either go to bccevolution.org or you can just send me a message at support@bccevolution.org. Let me type it in here. There we go. All right. Let me put this up on the screen. So you can either go to bccevolution.org or just send me an email at support@bccevolution.org and let me know that you want to be a guest on my show or you know somebody that would be an amazing, incredible guest on my show. So that's the first thing. The second thing is be on the lookout for my announcement for the Epic Shit Epic Shit Challenge. And it will include the free webinar that you can it's not even going to be a webinar. It'll be like a live thing. Webinars are not live, just but doing a free maybe like an hour or so that we just chat about how I can help you in 2024 do more epic shit. So, if that sounds like something you want to do, send me an email, let me know that you're interested, and I will send you all the information once it's ready, fully vetted and ready to go. But I know that this world, we need a little extra help along the way. And if you don't have that support yet and you want to really shift and change your mindset, now is the best time to do that, especially as we go into this year where there is this energy, this pull to do big things. And if you're willing to take the challenge, now is the time. I so appreciate and I am grateful for you watching the show. I want you to come back next Monday at 5 p.m. There is no more Wednesday show, just Monday at 5 p.m. every single Monday. And next week, I will have an incredible guest. So you do not want to miss it. And make sure you subscribe so that you get the alerts when we go live. No matter what, I hope you have the most epic 2024 that you possibly can. Bye, y'all.